There are still remote seas where sharks roam in abundance, wild places where a multitude of species coexist, where few humans have dared to venture. Now, an underwater camera crew explores these hidden reaches of the Indian Ocean in search of sharks. Their objective? To film and photograph as many different species as possible in a 2-month trek across the wild coast. Near the southernmost tip of Africa, tempest-battered Dire Island is an isolated refuge for a seal colony boasting over 20,000. On shore, the seals are protected, but at sea they confront an ever-present threat. The great white shark, also prolific here, patrols the icy waters, seeking its next unsuspecting meal. This white shark habitat is the first stop for South Africans Steph and Peter Lamberti, who begin a 2-month shark filming expedition on the world's most treacherous coastline.
The South African coast is probably the most dangerous coastlines in the world, for shipwrecks, for rough seas, for jagged, rugged coastlines. Probably more ships have gone down in this area than anywhere else in the world. And on top of it, you've got here in the Cape waters and the cooler waters, you've got an abundance of great white sharks. And as you move up into the warmer water, so the white sharks sort of thin out, but they're replaced by the bull shark and the tiger shark.
From Cape waters, they will embark on a dangerous journey across the Indian Ocean, seeking the habitats of several dominant species of shark. Bait and chun, traditionally used to entice sharks for filming, will not be used. Frenzied biting and thrashing, unnatural behavior, is what the Lambertis hope to avoid.
In the past, filmmakers have used bait to attract sharks close to them, to be able to film them, and they sometimes get into a feeding frenzy. So that is the only behavior that you get on film.
But without bait, the filmmakers have discovered sharks exhibit a completely different personality.
I find that sharks are just curious. They just come in very slowly, they look at you, they might circle you a few times and then they move away. It's very difficult to film and photograph sharks in that way, but that is their natural behavior.
It is possible to get up close to them and film them without baiting. And we believe by doing this, we are breaking new ground and getting more natural behavior. And I think by just spending time and staying with these sharks, we will get the footage which other people haven't captured yet.
A shark cage is the team's only protection in this fertile white shark hunting ground. The seal's best defense is congregating in floating rafts, a safety in numbers strategy that helps them avoid attack. Most vulnerable are the newborn pups, sometimes separated from their mothers and washed into the channel. Fighting a losing battle against a strong current, this one seeks asylum aboard the team's boat. The confused pup is weakened from its long swim and appears undernourished. Attempting to reunite pup with mother, the team reluctantly returns the newborn to the water, inadvertently placing it in harm's way. But the pup is ignored by an approaching predator, who instead turns his attention towards the expedition boat. The Lambertis have learned a close encounter with the great white does not always have tragic results. A stigma that has plagued the supposed man-eater since the days of Jaws.
We would like to try and educate people so that people can learn that sharks have got a place in the ocean, that they're a very important part of the marine ecosystems, and without them, there's going to be problems.
With the cage stowed on deck, the crew continues their sojourn north across the shark-abundant Indian Ocean. Like a strand of scattered pearls, an archipelago comprising over 2,000 coral atolls forms the Republic of Maldives. 400 miles west of India, the Maldives is an equatorial Eden, teeming with a variety of marine life unsurpassed in all the world.
It's an oasis in this vast Indian Ocean, and it has attracted almost every kind of fish and marine life that you can think of, from little invertebrates that just stick on the coral that you never notice, to the large pelagic fish, which include the sharks and the mantas.
For untold generations, Maldivian fishermen have conducted their daily ritual on small wooden boats, or dhonis. Using hand lines in lieu of indiscriminate netting, they harvest only what they need. Although not targeted by fishermen, sharks are sometimes caught. Their fins may bring high prices from Asian importers, but locals recognize the true value of the animals.
The shark fishing industry in the Maldives is on the decline. It used to be very big. Of course, for the Maldivians themselves, the shark watched by a tourist is worth a lot more money than a couple of shark's fins sent to Japan.
The Lambertis were among the first Westerners to film the underwater splendor of the Maldivian island chain. Voyaging to an uninhabited atoll, they may encounter schools of greys, whitetips, or any of the other 25 species of sharks frequenting these waters. Close cousins to the shark, a pair of giant manta rays materialize from the deep, gliding with mouths agape to filter the rich inflow of plankton. Once known as devilfish, the manta ray's huge size belies its angelic disposition.
Mantas are one of the most sleek and beautiful creatures in the ocean. They glide through the water. They're like a marine bird.
Using the manta's silent wings for cover, a horse-eyed jack will attempt to feed on unsuspecting reef fish below. Found worldwide along the equatorial belt, mantas are plentiful, yet remain poorly understood. Much of what is known has been observed at cleaning stations, areas along the reef where mantas congregate to rid themselves of parasites.
As the mantas come in to feed, they have the opportunity to stay around the cleaning stations. And this is the best spot to watch them, not only them, all fish actually. Cleaning stations you will see all over the reef. About every 10-15 meters, if you look carefully, you have some sort of a cleaning station.
Tiny fish, called cleaner wrasse, scour the manta's bat-like fins while the giants hover patiently. The symbiotic act of grooming is not for vanity, but crucial to the manta's health. The This interplay between cleaner wrasse and host manta is often experienced by divers at arm's length, as the harmless, even placid beasts sometimes permit closer inspection.
We still get questions about mantas if they're dangerous, and that's of course a normal reaction when you meet something that is about 4 meters between the wingtips.
Mantas will approach you and they will take an interest in you, and that's what makes it different to other creatures. And mantas are not creatures that you can feed, so they're not coming there to be fed. They come there purely out of interest in you.
A temporary lull in shark activity at sea has landed the expedition in a sheltered lagoon on the Maldivian island of Kuridu. Here, Peter has learned from locals that juvenile blacktip reef sharks are plentiful in the shallows. Trapped inshore by a receding tide, the sharks are known to pursue a variety of lagoon inhabitants, including the stingray. A carbon copy of an adult, a newborn blacktip, is a capable hunter within hours of birth. Its small size makes it vulnerable to larger species of shark, and as a result, it prefers hunting in the relative safety of the shoals. An incredible, rare moment captured by an amateur videographer demonstrates the tenacity of these pint-sized predators. As a wounded ray struggles in the shallows, baby blacktips circle, waiting for an assist from the tide. The disabled ray has also attracted a juvenile nurse shark, but unlike the blacktips, it is more hesitant to hunt stranded prey. With no fear of potentially beaching themselves, the blacktips corner, then move in on the hapless ray. The video confirms what biologists theorize, but seldom see in the wild. Like wolves, sharks sometimes hunt in packs, displaying cooperative behavior and not mindless frenzy. Razor-sharp teeth saw pieces of the valiant ray, but death is imminent. The patiently circling nurse shark outmuscles the smaller blacktips to claim the prize. From their island base in Kuridu, the Lambertis return to the outer reefs in search of the gray reef shark. Following island tradition, the divers wash their feet for good luck before departing to a notorious shark hangout, nicknamed Kuridu Express. Shark feeding to entertain tourists was once popular in the Maldives, but has since been abandoned. As the animals became used to handouts, they began to lose their natural fear of divers, creating a potentially dangerous situation for both sharks and humans. Like sentinels of the reef, moray eels guard the slowly descending channel bottom that leads to Kuridu Express. Named for punishing currents that make swimming strenuous, the rapidly flowing waters are rich with marine life and offer a perfect vantage point to view sharks despite the hazards.
You have to go into a channel bottom or a little bit off the reef, sitting at maybe 25 to 30 meters. And if you're calm, the sharks will come around, and they normally just pass you by once, but if you sit and have patience, they come back again.
The gray reef shark can be found throughout the Indian and Pacific Oceans. Strongly territorial, it has been observed adopting a hunched threat display as a prelude to attack. But Maldivian gray reef sharks differ from other gray reefs by rarely displaying territorial aggression. The differences are so marked that some marine biologists believe Maldivian gray reef sharks to be a distinct and separate species from their more aggressive Pacific cousins. Still, like any shark, it must be treated with respect at all times.
It is potentially dangerous. If you break the rules of diving with sharks, if you go and feed it by hand, then yes, it could bite you.
Resident schools of hammerhead shark also inhabit the Maldives, yet they are reluctant to let humans approach. This has made the species difficult to study, and science has yet to solve the evolutionary riddle of the creature's bizarre appearance. Like the hammerhead, the white-tip is a reclusive predator, often spending its days at rest in hidden caves. Whether driven by curiosity or perhaps a learned behavior from the days when they were hand-fed, the gray reef sharks show little fear of the camera crew. Females are usually first to greet divers, as the less adventurous and normally smaller males prefer to stay deeper.
Most people might have an idea that when you film sharks, when you go down to take divers to a shark place, it has to be baited. But here, they're just naturally around. And we have a few places with up to 25, 30 gray sharks in one reef.
During filming, Peter observes the gray reef sharks exhibiting a rare behavior. Swimming calmly, the shark allows itself to be surrounded by dozens of schooling rainbow runners. With an apparent truce called between age-old predator and prey, the runners use the shark's sandpaper-like skin to rid themselves of annoying parasites. It is difficult to determine what benefit the shark may receive from its benevolence, adding to the list of mysterious behaviors that have made the shark a fish of legend. Gray reef, white tip, hammerhead, black tip, and great white sharks now captured on film, the crew remains optimistic. But can they achieve their goal of filming 10 species in a 2-month period, without the advantage of using bait? With little time to relax amid the calm seas and lush tropical beauty of this oceanic paradise, the Lambertis will press on, crossing the Indian Ocean and returning home to the dangerous coast of Africa. South Africa's KwaZulu-Natal. From these highlands, the Lambertis will descend into the heart of Africa's wild coast, a stretch of Indian Ocean known for dozens of gruesome shark attacks. They have come to Natal to explore a system of shark-infested caves, a favorite haunting ground for the ragged-toothed shark.
There's 3 cave systems here. We've got hole in the wall, the tunnel, and hole in the floor. This is where the ragged-tooth sharks are sitting at the moment, some very big females in there.
Trevor, how are the raggies behaving? Are they relaxed or are they a bit nervous when you enter the cave?
Well, what we've got to watch out for here is, it's like anything, an animal like the shark is unpredictable. And they're very relaxed, but what happens when you go in the caves and there's a lot of bubbles, they start getting a bit jittery, especially when they start cracking their tails. If they start getting jittery, we'll move out and we'll leave them alone.
Known as Protea Banks, the hidden reefs are quickly gaining a worldwide reputation as a mecca for shark divers.
I think Protea Banks is the most prolific shark spot in the world. I've seen anything up to over 100 sharks at a time here, which is certain time of the year. It's an incredible amount of sharks to see that all in one go. We've never had a life-threatening experience on Protea Banks with the sharks. They do come in very close. We've had them in touching distance before, especially the Zambezi sharks. The shark in particular that I'm a bit wary of is the great white. I've only ever seen one there, and he reacted like any other shark, just looked at us and moved away. But they're very unpredictable, and I think diving with them without a cage could be a problem.
Moments after entering the water, the divers realize that they are in immediate jeopardy. Zambezi, known as the bull shark off North America, it is considered by experts to be the third most dangerous species of shark. But today, it is strangely apprehensive. Unknown to the Lambertis, a much larger and more menacing predator is patrolling Protea Banks. Drifting silently among the coral heads, a rogue great white has moved in to investigate the divers. Halting their descent, the film crew hovers above the shark, ready to leave the water should it become aggressive. The predator seems indifferent to the Lambertis, showing the sometimes reluctant nature of the great beasts. For now, the great white has disappeared, permitting the divers to cautiously continue their descent. "35 meters down on the ocean floor, the divers encounter their first group of cave-dwelling ragged tooths. For most sharks, life is a solitary existence, but not for the ragged tooth. Congregating in mass may be a defense against their larger cousins, the tiger, great white, and bull. As hunters, ragged tooths sometimes group together by the hundred to pursue prey, cornering schools of small fish into the shallows before feasting. A true paradox of the deep, the ragged tooth, or sand tiger as it's known in the US, bears a toothy grimace, but is actually a creature with a docile demeanor until provoked.
You might corner a raggy or two, and that is potentially dangerous because they feel cornered, they have to move out. They just turn around with a crack of the tail, and you actually feel the water pushing you. The eddy of the water as they turn and they speed off.
Diving in caves with raggies, especially when there's a lot, it can be a little bit unnerving. Although we know that the sharks don't normally attack, if you do corner one, or you do get it in a situation where it feels trapped, then there is the chance that that shark's going to turn and bite you.
Conversely, the shark may be more at risk from humans. Victim of commercial nets and sports fishermen, the ragged tooth has been nearly exterminated in Australian waters, a fate that now threatens Africa's population.
I'd like to see sharks protected. There's not many of them left. Fishermen tend to believe that there's hundreds of sharks, but as divers, we go down there, we see them. There's not many down there.
Like many sharks, raggies mature late, have few young, and do not quickly rebound from fishing pressure. factors that could lead to their ultimate demise. Sports divers may also be stressing the sharks. Because raggies are readily approachable, they have become a popular tourist attraction, hosting up to 200 spectators a day. Experts speculate these divers could affect the mating migration ritual that brings the raggies back to these reefs annually. Without government intervention, Trevor's exhaustive battle to save the raggies may prove to be ultimately futile. Only protective legislation will ensure the Protea Banks remains a domain of the shark. From Protea, the Lambertis move north to nearby Aliwal Shoals, where they meet dive master Mark Addison, an expert at capturing raggies for aquariums.
We have the rope coming through a 3-meter pole. We then swim the shark into this lasso as such. I'm hoping to get this over the shark. They're very slow swimming, so he'll come through, snout this far. We'll then pull the rope tight. As the noose tightens around him, hopefully it catches him on his tail, and then try and exercise some amount of control over him. The benefit behind using this pole with the rope spread through the center is that I then have full control of the shark at an arm's length. And I'm sure you'll agree, that's probably the best place to have a shark, at arm's length.
Mark believes that capturing sharks for public display will help increase awareness for the necessity of shark preservation. The key to a successful capture lies in the poling method, which avoids indiscriminate hooks or nets. This allows Mark to choose a specimen most likely to survive in captivity.
Obviously, you can also choose the sex of the shark, given that you now have the opportunity to observe him. The males are obviously the best specimens for the marine aquarium environment, given that they are a lot smaller.
With a thrust of its tail, the targeted animal escapes with an impressive burst of power. Now Mark will have only seconds to rearm his device. The failed capture has made the sharks wary of the human intruder. Suddenly, the lasso is turned into a hangman's noose, tightly clenched around the shark's gills. Amidst frenzied thrashing, Mark has only precious seconds to loosen the rope before the animal suffocates. Lashing out in retaliation, the raggy comes within inches of severing Mark's wrist. Undeterred, he works quickly to free the animal and secure its tail. The shark keeps its jaw locked on the pole, maintaining its death grip even as it is lifted into the transport tank. Floating belly up in its confining tank, the shark is temporarily bloated by air taken on during its struggle. Despite its bloated appearance, it is in excellent shape, but time is crucial to its survival. Ragged-toothed sharks are one of the few species that acclimate well to life in marine aquariums and have been known to live up to 10 years in captivity. But the shark must still face an anxious 7-hour ride to its final destination at an inland zoo in Pretoria, while being carefully monitored throughout the journey.
Of course, stopping every hour, check the flow rate of oxygen, check the nitrite levels, the ammonia levels in the tank. So this is where the skill comes in, getting them up there safely in good condition, the best condition possible.
By morning, the shark passes unnoticed through the tree-lined streets of Pretoria to begin life as the new star of the aquarium. Hundreds of miles from the sea, it is the only inland display of sharks in all South Africa. A place where encountering sharks may not spread fear, but promote understanding.
The more people can get awareness of the fact that not all sharks are bad sharks, in the same way we do our best to try and convince people that not all snakes are bad snakes. There's a lot of pros and cons about having a shark, but I think the main thing is that one must remember that 95% of our visitors will never see a shark in the wild. Probably about 60% of our visitors, in fact, have never even seen the sea.
Far from its shadowy domain, the lone ragged tooth begins life in the spotlight, perhaps providing new insight into the mysterious world of sharks. Emerging from a 20-year darkness of civil unrest, war-torn Mozambique begins the arduous task of rebuilding a land reduced to ashes and rubble. Facing a difficult recovery, amid a shattered infrastructure and financial chaos, locals hope their country's appeal as a shark diving destination will help fuel an economic recovery. The warm Mozambican currents support a wealth of undersea life from the vast Indian Ocean. Braving devastated roads recently cleared of landmines, Lambertis are among the first foreigners to rediscover Mozambique as a dive destination.
With the recent changes in the political situation in Mozambique, it's opened up the border at Ponta de Oro, which has given us accessibility to dive sites which we haven't had access to before. They've been closed. With these new dive sites opening up to us, we're finding lots of reef that are very good for shark diving. And we've had up to 10 species of sharks that we've filmed in a 2-week period.
3, 1, 3.
Ponta de Oro, Point of Gold, is the southernmost apex on the Mozambican coastline. Here, in subtropical waters, the Golden Point's unseen riches lie just beyond the surf line. Whale sharks, found in unparalleled abundance.
Whale sharks are prolific on the whole coast of southern Mozambique and northern Natal. But they seem to like the bay at Ponta de Oro in particular, and you seem to get a higher concentration of them there.
And for some unknown reason, they come very close into Ponta de Oro, the actual bay, so it's very easy for divers to go out on a boat, find a whale shark and dive with it in 5 meters of water, 5-10 meters of water.
The continental shelf is pretty close there, and there's a lot of old river mouths that run into the ocean there, which cause big canyons, and these canyons cause upwellings of the colder water, which cause plankton booms. So there's an abundance of plankton in this area, which I presume would be good for the whale sharks.
The tiny plankton that attract the whale sharks are the bottom link in a food chain of incredible diversity. Bottlenose dolphins hunt in packs and also use this tactic as a defense against large predatory sharks. A lone loggerhead turtle does not seek safety in numbers but finds refuge in its armor-like shell. This, along with its massive size, deter most predators with the exception of two, shark and human. Bert, as he is known by local divers, is a potato bass with personality. In a display of dominance, the 300-pounder often puts the bite on flashing cameras, but is more curious than fierce. Mantas also soar on the Mozambican currents, attracted by a wealth of plankton. Like a performer on cue, a whale shark suddenly emerges from behind a curtain of krill. Reaching dinosaur-like proportions, this living relic of oceanic prehistory has topped 40 feet and 20,000 pounds, making it the largest fish in the sea. Its imposing size and shark label are deceiving. This gentle giant is a methodical harvester of the sea, plowing forward with mouth agape through blooms of tiny plankton. Ponta de Oro may be the most prolific whale shark area in the world, and the Lambertis now have the opportunity to be the first to document its abundance.
It's a small one, about 6 meters, 5 or 6 meters.
That's cute.
Filming whale sharks does have its dangers, primarily the threat of attack from other more aggressive species of sharks, like this silvertip. The Lambertis have pioneered the use of an electronic shark repellent developed in South Africa. Ponta de Oro dive master Barry Skipstead has been among the first to bring the repellent to Mozambique.
So Barry, are you happy with this prototype?
Yes, definitely fit. Yesterday we had some Zambesis and some silvertips coming in. Once it was activated, they're definitely moving off. It's definitely affecting them.
So how does it work?
You have the activator coming over your shoulder. Once you need it activated, all it is a tap onto the activator and a tap off. You have the battery pack and the electrodes here on your cylinder and a cord running down to your fin where the other electrode is. And once it's activated, all it is an electric field that is activated around you, which affects the sharks.
Sunrise, 6 a.m. At this early hour, the silvertips are known to be actively feeding, a perfect time for the team to test the new repellent. They will not have to wait long for the predators to arrive.
Having the electronic shark repellent, when we're filming, it gives you, first of all, the security because we know it works. So when we're working with sharks, it gives you that peace of mind that you know if you do get into a situation where the sharks do get out of hand, you can put the device on and it will repel the sharks. It allows you to do things that you probably wouldn't normally do, go places where there are a lot of sharks and to film them, mainly giving you the peace of mind. And if a shark does come along that's aggressive, and that's something more than you bargained for. You can put the device on and it will allow you to get out of the water without the shark attacking you.
Detecting a disturbance near the surface with its electroreceptors, a silvertip, recently escaped from a fisherman's line, rockets upwards to investigate. A slow circle, a prelude to attack, suddenly diverted. The repellent test is a success. As researchers work to perfect shark repellents, a separate study is underway to more fully understand whale-shark behavior. Working under the direction of the American-based Shark Research Institute, a South African team led by Mark Addison is using ultralight aircraft to spot whale sharks from above.
Very little is known about the whale sharks. Ponta de Ora has found not a resident population, but a population through the summer season for 6 months, from October through May, which is constant. So we have a fantastic opportunity to try and learn a little more about these sharks that frequent our coastline and would certainly help enlighten the world knowledge base on them.
Right, 1, 2, 3, let's go.
With the ultralight spotter airborne, Addison's ground crew prepares for the awesome experience of diving with a whale shark.
Try and explain to someone who's never dived with a whale shark that this 8-meter creature alongside the boat is totally harmless. They say, come on, you're kidding. Once you've got them in the water, they experience this great serenity of these huge fish. This is one thing we stress. Don't hold on to the tail. But if you can swim up to the shark and observe him and he doesn't seem to be that perturbed by the divers, obviously then closer contact is possible and very exciting.
The air-to-sea search continues on a northerly course just outside the surf zone. In constant radio contact, the pilot directs the boat skipper quickly into position. Surface glare makes sighting the whale shark difficult at sea level, but there is no mistaking the creature's massive form from the air.
We've got a small whale shark, about a 6-meter whale shark. Okay, let's go. Big camera.
Filming of whale sharks can be very easy because occasionally you do get a whale shark that is absolutely not perturbed by you at all. Others will have a totally different reaction and they will be annoyed by your presence and they'll turn away and just dive deep and go away. And then you get a third reaction where the whale shark takes an interest in you and is curious about you and he will circle you and obviously this makes filming very easy.
The divers realize they must film and photograph with extreme caution to avoid alarming the shy leviathan. But this time they have moved in too close, and with a swish of its giant tail, the shark descends into the deep.
Normally they'll stick together in an area. Okay, but because I got right on top of him, and then I bumped his tail and he got a fright and went off.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to get so close.
The search continues with the help of surface snorkelers who direct the boat skipper into position. And although the first shark of the day has disappeared from camera range, more have been located further up the coast.
Okay, let's go, guys.
Even with the advantages of powerboats and aerial spotters, the methodical whale shark outdistances the film crew with a steady, tireless pace.
as a photographer, you have to get to the front of the whale shark to photograph it coming towards you. And then by the time it's gone past you, it actually swims quite fast, and I can't keep up to it. So I've got to get back onto the boat, get to the front of the shark again, and start the whole process again.
We've got about an 8 to 10 meter whale shark. Really big, it's really relaxed. It's just cruising along very slowly. Ideal thing to film.
Though the whale shark can be easily accessed by researchers and filmmakers, little is known about its day-to-day life. Whale sharks have never been observed mating or giving birth. No one can predict the status of whale shark populations. Little is known about their movement patterns, and experts still puzzle over mysterious whale shark strandings. To gather more knowledge, the Shark Research Institute, along with Addison and his crew, have launched a tagging program at Ponta do Ouro. In its early stages, it has already produced prolific results, recording 97 taggings in 1 year alone. The key was developing a spear gun mounted tag that would penetrate the shark's tough skin, but not harm the animal.
And is this the tag? Yes, this is the tag which comes off the gun. All it has on the tag is one number, which we can identify each individual from. Once we have tagged it, we'll relay this number back to the headquarters or the base. The smaller ones seem to shoot off once you tag them, I think because there's not as much blubber as the bigger ones, but the bigger ones, once you've tagged them, that don't affect them at all.
To avoid stressing the whale shark, Barry will attempt to fire the tag into one of the shark's extremely hardened ridges behind the dorsal fin. At 6 or 7 inches thick, these dorsal ridges can accommodate the tiny tags with little or no irritation to the animal. After tagging, Barry will estimate the size of the animal, record the direction it was swimming, and note the sex by diving below the creature's underside. Many sharks have been tagged, only a handful have been resighted to date. But as resightings of tags increase, data collected will be added to a worldwide pool of knowledge that may reveal the whale shark's movement patterns, seasonality, and growth rate. This information will become a valuable tool in protecting and managing vulnerable whale sharks from annihilation by commercial fisheries. Recent disturbing reports from the Philippines reveal the slaughter of 18 whale sharks in one day. In India and Indonesia, their meat is prized, and it is doubtful that these heavily populated countries will ignore an easy target like the slow-swimming whale shark as a massive source of protein. Equally as incredible as the protected whales, the unprotected whale shark faces a future of uncertainty. Is it truly a viable food source? Can fishing efforts be controlled? Or should the whale shark simply be left alone to patrol the seas as it has for countless millennia? Tagging efforts, like those underway in Mozambique, may offer answers that will save this timeless creature.